The feast of the Blessed Irish Martyrs of the Reformation reminds us of our roots. Indeed, one of the martyrs, Margaret Ball, has left her name, that of her family, on the nearby parish at Ball's Grove. We find details about how bit by bit the faith was weakened or attempted to be weakened by the succession of laws coming from England. In 1623, in the month of February, a proclamation was published against Catholic priests of all kinds, ordering them to quit the kingdom within 40 days, and after this, forbidding all persons to hold any converse with them. Things seemed now to have reached a climax, we're told, and in writing to Rome in this month and year, Dr. Matthews gives a brief account of the sad condition of the Catholics. Having mentioned the harm done to Catholicism by the Court of Wards, which was really meant to weed out popery, and to pauperize and Protestantize every landowner in Ireland, he assures us that the adherents of the ancient faith, having been put out of the lowest offices, were not allowed to remain even as peasants on their former lands. The Protestant clergy from England and Scotland were in possession of the property of the church, and even collected the fees with which the charity of the faithful rewarded the priest for the administration of the sacraments. Absence from Protestant service was punished by taxes, which were cruelly wrong, even from the very poorest, and heavy fines were imposed on all those who attended Mass. At length, in March of 1625, in the 59th year of his age, passed away a monarch who believed fully in what the poet Alexander Pope so aptly calls the right divine of kings to govern wrong. So, James passed away. He was actually the son of a martyred queen himself. He caused between 4 and 5 million statute acres of Irish land to be confiscated and allotted to Protestant aliens. He also made many galling additions to the already drastic penal laws against the Catholic religion. But despite all, the Catholics refused to submit. Deprived of their chiefs and leaders, robbed of their churches and property, exhausted by famine and pestilence, they still did not count their country as hopelessly crushed, nor give up their cause as entirely lost. They were, of course, a block and a thorn in the side of the English. Bishops and priests and lay people were tortured and martyred. One bishop had his legs, his feet put through stocks, lard put on his feet, and a fire applied beneath them, roasting them as one would roast a joint. and on we could go. Near here is the hill of Douse, and the local landowner tried to get round things by standing on the top of it on a Sunday morning and uniting his heart and mind to the prayer going on illegally in the little chapel below. It was a Catholic Mass quietly going on, and he was trying to get away from the authorities' sight and fulfill his obligation in that way. There is the story of what happened to one of our local martyrs in Wales in this context, St. Richard Gwyn. He was a poet and a school teacher, and to get round the problem he asked the Lord to make the priest that day a valid priest so that he could receive from him the sacrament, and he tried to compromise in that way. He went, and when he came out of church, having received the Protestant host, his stomach was cruelly pecked by huge gigantic birds. So he took it as a sign that he was never to do it again, and suffered the consequences. He was hanged, drawn and quartered. But he was so popular locally that no one could be got to make the proper thing to do it with, and it was done in a makeshift way. As he was at the last stage of martyrdom, his heart was pulled out, and he cried out, O Dduw Gwyn, pa beth ydy hyn, O white God, O blessed God, what thing is this? And he was calmly replied, it is the execution of the High King. These then went on unto glory. Now, on a Sunday, the football is more important. Corpus natum de Maria Virgine, venere passum immolatum in cruce pro homine, cuius gradus perforatum proxit agorit sanguine. Est nobis pregustatum, mortis in examine. O Iesu dulcis, O Iesu